away.
The tension here is getting unbearable because this isn't just a football match, this is a great real carnival.
When you first enter the Wembley dressing rooms, the light is good enough, but the walls are bare and cold, and there's a cathedral-like hush about the place.
What it looks like when you walk out of the tunnel, and that noise must hit you right between the eyes.
The Royal Standards hoisted as their Majesties arrive, and the King goes out onto the field.
The big day has finally arrived and the new Wembley looks absolutely magnificent. It's 7 years since we were last here and how the place has changed. On this special occasion we'll try and give you a flavour of the day both in and around the ground.
Now the legends. 1957. Now he'll be booed, Peter McParland, by Manchester United fans. All credit to him for his 2 goals, but of course he did collide with Ray Wood, the Manchester United goalkeeper, who was carried off injured.
Great player in his day, and here he comes.
Villa won the Cup 2-1. In those days they didn't allow substitutes, of course.
Fullback in the victorious Bolton Wanderers team of 1958, Roy Hartle.
Roy Hartle, Bolton Wanderers, then led by Nat Lofthouse, who scored both goals in that final, again against Manchester United.
1959, when Nottingham Forest beat Luton Town, goalkeeper Dick Thompson.
That was the final in which Roy Dwight broke his leg, but Forest still went on to beat Luton Town.
He lifted the cup in 1960, the Wolves captain in their 3-0 win against Blackburn, Bill Slater.
And he'd also played in a previous final for Blackpool as an amateur, Bill Slater.
Scorer of the first goal in the win which clinched the double for Spurs in 1961, beating Leicester. That great centre-forward, Bobby Smith.
Part of the Tottenham double team. He also scored in the final the following year against Burnley, Bobby Smith.
From 1962, Tottenham's flying Welsh left winger in their 3-1 win over Burnley, Cliff Jones.
He looks young enough still to be playing, doesn't he? He's now a matchday host at White Hart Lane, Cliff Jones.
The opening goal scorer in the 1963 3-1 win against Leicester. Yes, it's the lawman, Dennis Law.
Great reception for a United hero who also scored here at Wembley. This was the goal against Leicester in his FA Cup final appearance for Matt Busby's team. He also scored here for Scotland and the rest of the world.
In 1964, you've heard from him already. It's Sir Geoff Hurst.
Well, it's Sir Geoff Hurst who 2 years later did something even more memorable, of course, in the World Cup.
Scorer of an extra time winner against Leeds United in 1965, Liverpool's Ian St John.
Not so sure about the reception for the Saints, but my goodness me, the Liverpool fans were back in 65 under Shankly.
The 1966 winning goal scorer for Everton in a 5-goal thriller against Sheffield Wednesday, Derek Temple.
Well, Everton had been 2 goals down in that final, and they came back to win 3-2.
Now the winning 1967 Spurs captain in the first All-London final. It was against Chelsea. A big welcome for the great Dave Mackay.
Saw him the other night at Derby, Dave Mackay in great nick. Played in 3 FA Cup finals and won them all. Captain the 3rd time, look.
Now the man who lifted the cup after West Bromwich win against Everton in 68, Graham Williams.
West Bromwich Albion will be at Wembley again very shortly in the playoff final against Derby.
A winner in 1969 against Leicester from the blue half of Manchester, Mike Summerby.
He made the winning goal that year for Neil Young, a really good old-fashioned orthodox winger.
Now, a Chelsea legend, captain of the successful 1970 team against Leeds, the tough-tackling hard man of the bridge, Ron Chopper Harris.
Huge roar for Ron Harris, who actually lifted the cup at Old Trafford because there was a replay that year in which Chelsea beat Leeds. There he is.
Now, the double-winning captain in 1971 against Liverpool, Arsenal's Frank McClintock.
Who played in 4 finals at Wembley, 2 for Leicester, 2 for Arsenal.
Here comes the man with the hardest shot in the game, a winner in 1972 against Arsenal, Peter Lorimer.
A reminder of Leeds United's heyday here. He won't be pleased to see them fall into the
Now,
third
what
tier.
about that double save against Leeds in 1973? Sunderland's legendary keeper, Jim Montgomery.
Indeed, who can forget that save? First from Peter Lorimer, then from Trevor Cherry.
From the victorious Liverpool team,
Double save to be remembered.
1974. Goalkeeper
Cherry's header,
Ray Clements.
Lorimer's shot, wonderful goalkeeper. And here's another fine goalkeeper, Ray Clements, who played here for Liverpool and Spurs.
He scored both goals for West Ham in 1975 against Fulham. Alan Taylor.
Certainly did, came from Rochdale and made a big impact in his first season at West Ham.
In 1976 he led the second division rank outsiders Southampton to one of the biggest giant-killing results in Wembley history when they beat United. Manager Laurie McMenemy.
In those days it was my job to get hold of the winning manager at the end of the game, and he and I walked together down the old Wembley tunnel with the cup.
Now another Manchester United legend involving the winning goal against Liverpool in 1977. It's Lou Macari.
There would have been a lot of replays of that goal these days. It actually went in off Jimmy Greenough.
Now, the Ipswich Town brilliant defender in their 1978 famous triumph over Arsenal, Kevin Beattie.
Who has since recovered from a life-threatening illness.
And a special mention to their manager, Sir Bobby Robson, who's also with us today. Bobby's here.
And Bobby Robson also fighting his own battle at the moment.
Now a goal scorer and winner in 1979 with Arsenal before going on to further FA Cup success with Manchester United in 1983 and 1985. Centre forward, Frank Stapleton.
And Frank scored both for and against Manchester United in FA Cup finals.
There was a rear-headed winning goal in 1980 as second division West Ham defeated Arsenal, England and the FA's Sir Trevor Brookie.
And also, of course, my co-commentator on many FA Cup final broadcasts for the BBC.
Scorer of perhaps the most famous FA Cup winning goal of all time against Manchester City in 1981, Tottenham's World Cup winning Ricky Villa, and he's with Steve Perriman.
Well, I know Ricky still shows that goal to his kids, and we don't mind seeing it again either. 1981 replay against Manchester City.
Scoring both games against QPR in 1982, including a winning penalty. He also, of course, managed Chelsea to the 1994 final. Glenn Hoddle.
Well, the former England manager, Glenn Hoddle, scored, came on as a substitute in that final in '94. Arthur Orbiston, 1983 against Brighton. Replay that year.
Played in Everton's victorious team against Watford in 1984. Trevor Stephen.
Trevor Stephen played in 3 consecutive finals here for Everton in the 80s.
Now another United hero and the only goal scorer in the 1985 extra time win against Everton. It's Norman Whiteside.
Huge reception for Norman, who was the youngest cup final goal scorer against Brighton in 1983.
From the Liverpool team of 1986 who beat Everton, the all-time record FA Cup final scorer with 5 goals. It is, of course, Ian Rush.
2 in 1989, 2 in 1986, 1 in 1992 for Rushy.
A great game and a great headed goal for Coventry against Spurs in 1987. Keith Houchin.
I recall that goal very well. Thrilling diving header after David Bennett, I think it was, put the cross in. Laurie Sanchez, the winner for Wimbledon, now of course the new manager of Fulham.
An FA Cup finalist with 3 different teams and a winner in 1989 with Liverpool, John Barnes.
Who also played in the cup final for Watford and Newcastle.
After a brilliant 3-3 draw with Crystal Palace in 1990, this young man fired United to victory in the replay with the only goal of the game. Lee Martin.
And that goal brought Alex Ferguson his first trophy with Manchester United.
Manager and captain of the Tottenham side that beat Forest in 1991. It's Terry Venables and Gary Mabbott.
Manager and captain from that final, which is remembered, I suppose, most for Paul Gascoigne.
Now scorer of the opening goal in the 2-0 win against Sunderland in 1992, Liverpool's Michael Thomas.
Probably better remembered for the goal he scored at Anfield when Arsenal won the championship.
Scored in both games as Arsenal overcame Sheffield Wednesday in the 1993 replay. Ian Wright.
Also scored twice here as a sub for Palace against United in 1990.
Now the only man to win the FA Cup 4 times at Wembley with Manchester United and Chelsea, Mark Hughes.
Well, he's one of our panel today and scored against Chelsea in 94.
Genuine goalkeeping great, but also appeared in 4 Wembley finals, winning in 84 and 95. Everton's Neville Southall.
Well, not many men have played in finals 11 years apart, but Neville did.
From 1996, he defended stoutly for Manchester United against Newcastle in a 2-0 win. It's Gary Pallister.
3 times an FA Cup winner. Great partnership, of course, with Steve Bruce.
He captained Chelsea to 2 FA Cup wins in 97 and 2000. He was in victorious Wimbledon side of 88. One of the all-time favourites at Stamford Bridge. Let's hear it for Dennis Wise.
Well, he's got young Henry with him again. Dennis Wise, who also played in finals for Wimbledon and Millwall, but that was his proudest moment.
From 1998, safe hands himself, Arsenal's great goalkeeper, David Seaman.
A bit more Wembley history here. Remember Euro 96 and the penalty shootout in which he figured against Spain.
Finally, 99 and 2000, Manchester United's goalkeeping great Dane with a hat-trick of FA Cup wins, Peter Schmeichel. He's with the French World Cup winning star and legendary defender, a winner with the Blues in the last Wembley final in 2000, Marcel Desailly.
2 of our BBC colleagues.
I'm sure you'll agree that was quite a collection of players. I'd like to thank every one of them on behalf of everyone here for being at Wembley today. Let's hear it once again for all the FA Cup final greats. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen.
That was some parade, wasn't it?
Thank you very much, Des Lynam.
That was some parade of FA Cup final Wembley heroes. Who's going to write their name across the FA Cup here today?